Where's signing sheet? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Carter and Ms. Santos, please come forward and have a seat. The Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing convenes this budget hearing. Public notice was issued to the media on Wednesday, February 26th, Tuesday, March 10th, and for the record, today is Friday, March 13th. And the time now is 9:02. The committee will hear and accept testimonies on Bill 282-35 LS, the fiscal year 2021 Appropriation Act as requested by the governor relative to the Guam Community College fiscal year 2021 budget request. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues that have joined me. I have the oversight chair of Guam Community College, Senator Amanda Shelton. I have the minority leader, Senator Telo Taidevi, to my right, and I have Senator Mary Torres Camacho, or Camacho Torres. Apologize. The general rules for the budget hearing. The conduct of this budget hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying on behalf of the Guam Community Colleges will be recognized by the chair invited to the panel, and you have been. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy written testimony should be summarized to 5 minutes, but this hearing is all on Guam Community College, so that won't apply. Okay? But I would ask that your written testimony be submitted to the committee so that our staff will have photocopying of such testimony and provide it to my colleagues. Testimony shall be confined to the substance of this hearing. Persons will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Once you are done, you may be asked to remain in the room for questions or for additional testimony as may be desired by members of the committee. Proper form and quorum shall be practiced by all present in the public hearing room for this proceedings. Individuals who fail to maintain proper form and quorum may be restricted from providing oral testimony and or may be asked to leave or be escorted from the room. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name. At this time, I'll ask the sergeant arm to ask the folks that will testify to please rise and you be sworn in. Thank you, Sergeant Arms. We will now begin to discuss Bill 282-35 LS relative to the Guam Community College fiscal year 2021 budget. And today we have Dr. Akata, the president. We have Carmen Santos. And we have Mr. Eloy Hara. Good morning.
Sir. Good morning.
I would ask you to, Ms. Akata, okay.
Yeah.
We'll start with the chairman, I guess.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Senator Joe San Agustin, Chairman, Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriations and Housing, 35th Guam Legislature, Guam Congress Building, 163 Jalan Santu Papa, Agatnia, Guam, 96932. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, San Agustin, and members of the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriations and Housing. My name is Eloy P. Hara, speaking on behalf of our Chairman, Frank P. Ariola, and Chairman of the Guam Community College Board of Trustees. Thank you for allowing us to come before you to testify on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff regarding GCC's funding requirements for fiscal year 2021. GCC has a busy year since the last time we came before you on our budget. We launched our Associate of Science program for practical nursing. We cut the ribbon for our newly renovated Criminal Justice and Development Education Building 100. We broke grounds on the Forensic DNA Lab. We've successfully completed 5 pre-apprenticeship boot camps, 2 for construction, 2 for ship repair, and 1 for commercial truck driving. And GCC has now been approved to offer our first 4-year bachelor's degree in career and technical education, which will start this coming fall. And true to form, the dedicated team at GCC are already hard at work on additional boot camps, preparing for upgrades to the fiber optic backbone of our campus, expanding our program offering to both our secondary and post-secondary students, and working hand in hand with our community partners to understand the workforce needs of our island and region, and to develop programs that will meet those needs. GCC is also in the process of standing up a cybersecurity certificate program. We're also working on a program to offer high-demand drone operations certification, the first ever in our region. Additionally, we are working to ensure that GCC receives its 18th consecutive clean audit, a feat no other government agency has been able to achieve. If record matters, you can count on GCC to be the model of good fiscal stewardship. Guam Community College FY 2021 budget request is $19,567,463,000. And as we look at 2021 and beyond programs, such as our new Bachelor of Science in CTE, our expanded pre-apprenticeship boot camps, and upgrade to our technology infrastructure will allow us to train more people in more relevant job sectors to ensure that our workforce can stay on pace with the demand of our community economy. The budget request will support these programs and allow us to continue innovating and collaborating with our community partners to strengthen Guam's workforce. Given all that I have mentioned, I, along with my fellow board members, Richard Sablan, Vice Chairman, Gina Ramos, Secretary, Eloy Hara, Treasurer, Deborah Ballinger, Carlo Leon Guerrero, and Roseanne Pescan, are confident that this budget request of $19,567,463 is sufficient to move the college forward, while simultaneously being fiscally responsible and fiscally conservative, given Government of Guam's current fiscal challenges. I thank you for the opportunity to appear before this committee this morning and testify in favor of FY 2021 budget request for Guam Community College. Sincerely, Frank P. Ariola, Chairman, Guam Community College Board of Trustee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to also recognize my other colleagues that have joined us. We have Senator Regine Bisco-Lee, and we have Senator Jim Moylan. Dr. Okada, ma'am.
Buenas and half a day. Senator San Agustin, Senator Shelton, Senator Taitagui, Senator Camacho, Senator Moylan, Senator Bisco-Lee. Sedus Maasi for giving me another opportunity to advocate for student success and workforce development by presenting the Guam Community College's fiscal year 2021 budget request. The Guam Community College is a leader in career and technical workforce development, providing the highest quality student-centered education and job training for Micronesia. This morning, you will hear of students' success, upcoming initiatives, and increased opportunities for our island community. The framework by which Team GCC has compiled our budget submission is grounded in our mission that is linked to our institutional strategic master plan that was recently updated and implemented beginning in January 2020. As I started writing my testimony for this morning's presentation, I pondered on what would be most beneficial approach that would demonstrate the results and opportunities for our students and our island community. This morning, I would like to start my presentation by highlighting some of the many initiatives that were instituted since the beginning of this fiscal year and the win-win results to support workforce development. The college rolled out a couple of transportation boot camps that was designed to support the ship repair industry on Guam. Through our creativity, Team GCC designed a program that would identify an employer that hired all of the boot camp completers. This innovative solution to workforce development has stimulated our approach to strengthening partnerships with business industry by providing qualified and skilled individuals that are needed to spur economic activity on the island. They stood beside us through the 12-week training and celebrated with the students upon completion. In addition, we hosted a truck driver boot camp with a similar approach. All of the completers have successfully been employed as well. These two examples did not end there. We are working with several industries to develop similar programs. To give you an idea of the diversity of students in these programs, we trained veterans, unemployed and underemployed individuals, females, representatives from the LGBT community, and homeless students. Last December, for the first time, we hosted a graduation ceremony for our adult high school and high school equivalency programs. This intimate ceremony for 34 students reminded us that there still remains a large number of Guam residents that are in need of this educational opportunity. When you listen to the struggles and barriers they encountered through life and recognize that by completing high school, they have embarked on a new path for success, it can really be overwhelming. Imagine what we can do if more individuals were to take advantage of this opportunity. To continue to support our students, we are anticipating another ceremony at the end of this year. In May of 2019, we graduated a total of 57 students with 435 credentials. 352 students earned an associate or certificate degree. 57 students completed their adult high school diploma or high school equivalency, and 26 students received their journey worker certificates in various occupational areas. In addition, 163 high school students earned certificates of completion, and 202 students earned certificates of mastery under our CTE programs in the 6 high schools on island. Certificates of masteries equates to college credits earned. In our renewable energy initiatives, GCC transitioned from conventional parking light fixtures to standalone PV LED fixtures. As PV LED fixtures reach their end of life cycle, GCC developed a plan to replace these units with an innovative all-in-one solar LED technology. The new all-in-one single unit technology uses lithium battery versus bulky or heavy gel cell or lead acid. They are programmed by remote. For example, motion sensor, time setting, and brightness. Implementing these units will save approximately $3,000 annually. Our renewable energy initiatives, the cost of energy usage dramatically decreased through the use and production of renewable energy, or PV, that is placed on building rooftops. As of today, GCC has over 100 kilowatt PV systems on 5 buildings, Building 3000, 4000, 5000, Building E100 and E200, resulting in approximately $54,000 cost savings annually. GCC produced 131 megawatt hours of clean energy, thus reducing carbon dioxide emission by 284,000 pounds. Our sustainability efforts do not stop there. The college now has 4 buildings that are LEED certified, and an additional 3 buildings are projected to become LEED certified as well. This means that buildings are retrofitted with energy efficient lighting. Some have rainwater catchment systems for toilets and urinals, and digital controls to monitor the temperature and other features. Sustainable waste diversion through recyclable efforts is another area for cost savings. We went from 10 trash bins to 8, a decrease of 20 cubic yards. This decrease is due to recycling efforts of paper shredding, green waste, food waste, aluminum, plastics, and metals. Additionally, water bottle filling stations are now available at 4 locations on campus. replacing more than 11,700 12-ounce bottles that would have been used. GCC plans to install more water filling stations in the upcoming months. In addition, the college has been upgrading its air conditioning systems on campus. Converting to SEER 18 helps to lessen energy usage per cooling capacity as compared to older units with lower SEER. In addition, since R22 refrigerant is no longer manufactured because it is EPA banned, GCC identified air conditioning units with this refrigerant, and we are in an ongoing process of replacing them with eco-friendly refrigerant. In terms of technology upgrades, the college has enhanced its communication system from using landlines to voice-over IP systems in new buildings, allowing the college to communicate via the internet. The VoIP system is more reliable, requires less infrastructure, and is about 40% less costly than the traditional landline telephone service. The next several years through 2026, the college will focus on 5 major initiatives that are contained in our institutional strategic master plan: advancing workforce development and training, fostering 100% student-centered success, leveraging transformational engagement and governance, optimizing resources, and modernizing and expanding infrastructure and technology. On February 3rd, the college rolled out its first bachelor's degree program, a Bachelor of Science in Career and Technical Education. This recognition and support for this program stemmed from a Career and Technical Education Summit hosted in January of 2019. We are in the process of identifying our first cohort of students for the program that will begin in the fall 2020. In our secondary environment, the college serves 2,820 students in the 6 public high schools. We are continuing to increase the number of programs that we offer, continuing to focus on dual enrollment and dual credit for high school students. We've added an additional track to our early middle college platform in telecommunications. As I mentioned last year in my budget testimony, Team GCC is the best in fiscal responsibility, and our track supports this claim. Our hardworking and dedicated employees are the reason the college has continued to garner the designation of a low-risk auditee for 18 consecutive years, and soon to be 19 years. I can proudly say that because they have all supported student success throughout the years, they are innovators, strategic thinkers, team players, and definitely resilient. They have embraced sustainability and transformational change, focusing on students first and mission always. GCC has a couple of projects that will be nearing completion before the end of the year. Our newly designed photovoltaic barrel vault walkways will be completed shortly. This new walkway will generate enough solar energy to light up the walkway during the evening hours. This pilot project will soon be expanded throughout the campus. By the end of the year, we will celebrate another ribbon-cutting event to showcase the new multi-purpose auditorium. The college is continuing on our construction progress to support student learning. I have to say, over the years, I have enjoyed coming to this body to advocate for students and student learning. It is an easy task for me in that each time I come to testify, I share many of the successes for our college and innovative practices. More importantly, though, is that GCC has delivered. Our contributions to workforce development continue to thrive, primarily because of our partnership. At this time, I would like to thank all of you for your continued support for the Guam Community College. Over the years, your investment in the education of our residents through the various programs have yielded positive results. I offer you yet another opportunity to support our island residents. I humbly ask for your support for the Guam Community College budget for fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $19,567,463, in addition to a separate appropriation for the First Generation Trust Fund of $200,000. Team GCC will continue to perform as a model agency of the government of Guam in its commitment to fiscal responsibility and 100% student-centered success through its innovative practices focused on our mission. Sedus Ma'asi for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Okada. I'd like to also recognize another colleague that have joined us, Senator Sabina Paris. First of all, Dr. Okada, I'd like to first thank you for your team for being a model in fiscal stewardship. Could you please share that with the government as a whole? And I don't say that insultingly to everybody, but let them so take note of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Because as you went over your testimony, renewable energy, LED, food for thought, I ask again to please share that with all the other education institutions, so that maybe everybody can start saving. And then they're saving, they can put it to the use of their CIP projects or whatever projects. The only thing I'm surprised at is you're asking for less. And I just whispered to your oversight chair, I like to keep it status quo with what you got this year, because there's going to be more projects I know that you're going to pursue forward. And I wouldn't, you're only asking for what, 170,000 less
More.
or more?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll support that anyway, but I'm just looking at 2020. Don't worry, you have my support. For GCC, I can't seem to find faults other than you're not sharing with everybody else. Maybe that's your fault, Dr. Okada.
So sorry.
But I understand. I know that the oversight chair wants to save her questions till later, so I will begin with easy, Senator Tello. First come, first serve. Senator Tello. And then to the right, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, it pays to be an early bird to come first to these public hearings. But I greatly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was mentioned about the solar energy that our chairman spoke about, and we're all very proud of what you've done at GCC. The question I had is, where did you and how did you purchase the solar panels that went on your building? Did you use a PPA, or did you purchase this through a grant, or how was these solar panels purchased?
So when ARA was first, the stimulus package was rolled out several years ago, photovoltaic panels, we did receive some money from Guam Department of Energy, a total of about, I want to say a little over $1 million. That was back in 2014, I believe. So we got some money from that. We've included them in all of the new construction that we have as an alternate bid, and because of the LEED designation that we are requiring for the delivery of the construction, we've always accepted the alternate bid as a requirement for the construction. So it's part of our construction projects, and so whatever funding mechanism or combinations of funding mechanisms are used for the facility construction, we've included it there. But we did get a big bulk of the first PV systems through Department of Energy during the era, when ERA funding was available.
And considering, that there may be other opportunities, I'm sure you have your ears and eyes open for any other grants that may give you the possibility of providing more solar energy panels. So I appreciate what you did and took advantage of that situation during the time of those, the grants for, it was the ARA grant, right?
Yes.
Yeah, from EPA, I believe.
Yes.
Conducive with the EPA, okay. Also, when I was reviewing the governor's executive budget and did notice the shortfall of 118,447, if I'm not mistaken, I did look at also the governor's executive budget that I'm sure you had reviewed as well. And on page 25, where it says appropriation to the Guam Community College, that section, I'm going to wait till you can get to that section. Are you there? Okay, and it says section 10, as it reads, appropriation of the Guam Community College, notwithstanding any other provisions of law for fiscal year 2021, the sum of $985,144 is appropriated from the general fund. And then additional $1,048,935 is appropriated from the Manpower Development Fund, is appropriated from the Territorial Education Fund to the Guam Community College for the following training programs. Now, I don't know if this is a typographical error or if you read this as it's two different funds. It talks first about the Manpower Development Fund is appropriated from the Territorial Educational Fund. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. And this particular funding is actually from the Manpower Development Fund, not the TEFF.
Okay, so it is a
So it is an
typographical.
error, yes.
Okay, good. I just wanted you to and also, Mr. Chair, note that for the record, it is a typographical. Lastly, I'm real short here because I want to thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us senators individually, as you did, and have you done in the past before to advocate for your budget. I greatly appreciate that, and that's why I don't have very many questions, because I asked a lot of questions, concerns that I had, and you answered them, and I greatly appreciate, again, for you taking the time and advocating for your college, the People's College, for this budget. And I do support the full amount that you requested for, and we'll advocate for that on the floor. It's $118,000 additional more. I think it can go a long way for that, and it's also very well deserved for all the hard work that you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Okada.
So just
And thank
lastly-
you to the staff at GCC, because behind every great leader, there's great employees that work it, and I wanted to make sure I do a shout out to the people, the employees at GCC, and teachers and staff, faculty. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Tello. Senator Regine? Senator Lee?
Suzus Masi, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Dr. Okada, Dr. Santos, Mr. Hara. Thank you for joining us. I do want to take the time to thank GCC for your leadership and for the success, especially with the most recent few boot camps that we've been rolling out. It's been such a pleasure to be there at the opening of these boot camps and also at graduation to celebrate with all of these hardworking individuals from GCC. So I just really want to thank you for your continued commitment to student success and also to helping develop our workforce. I also wanted to thank you for being a leader in sustainability. You talked a little bit about energy efficiency and decreasing the use of single-use plastics on campus, and also the fact that you have banned polystyrene or styrofoam on your campus. Is that you're still continuing with that with the GCC budget, not allowing the use of styrofoam?
So we probably still have a few pockets, but it has been, whenever we have institutional sponsored events, we do not use the styrofoam containers.
Okay, and I just wanted to confirm that in FY 2020, you'll continue to have that practice.
2020 and 21, yes.
And 21.
Yes.
For the benefit of the public, can you spend some time comparing how your budget request differs at all from the $1.5 million appropriated to GCC from the General Fund and Manpower Development Fund in the current fiscal year? I'm hoping that this very highly successful apprenticeship program to build a skilled and well-paid workforce can at least be kept at its current funding level. So I just wanted to see if you can give us a comparison between last year, if at all, if any difference to what we're requesting this year in terms of General Fund and Manpower Development Fund.
So in fiscal year 2020, the authorized level is $1,325,100, and our current request is for $1,259,329. So there's only about a $50,000, $70,000 difference. And of course, even though the appropriation last year was at in 2019, it was at $948,000. There is a supplemental bill that was introduced by our oversight chair.
Yeah, I'm a
to
co-sponsor.
appropriate. Correct, and the reason is because the legislation requires that any excess funding has to be appropriated, and
Right.
so even though the college has asked for 1.259 million for the current fiscal year, it really is based on receipts. So if the receipts are increased, then there would be an opportunity for the college to receive the difference up to 75% of the increase. So even though it's appropriated, if there is actual cash collections in excess, there is an opportunity for us to receive the additional funding to support apprenticeship.
Right. Thank you, Doc. I understand that we're currently focused on the FY 2021 budget, but I just wanted to inquire, I think it relates, of GCC, of any contingency plans in case of a coronavirus outbreak on Guam, and how that might affect your budget. Many academic institutions around the country are transitioning to temporary remote instruction for all classroom-based academic programs in the wake of these threats. And so I just wanted to see if there's a similar plan in place at the college in the case that COVID-19 does reach our shores. How would this affect GCC's budget?
So there are two components of education or instruction on the campus, and some of it, like automotive, is not something that we can necessarily deliver online, and some of the trades, because it requires a lot of hands-on activities. So in the event that we needed to provide, because the college delivers based on student learning outcomes that the students expect to have at the end of the course. And so in the event that we need to provide the additional instructional hours at a later time, it will be deferred for those that have to have one-on-one, hands-on. We have a college assembly on Monday, and so we are going to be using part of that time to allow faculty an opportunity to look at web-enhanced opportunities to deliver the remainder of their classes through an electronic means. And so there is a plan that is being put in place now. We've done a lot of training in terms of faculty training for online classes, and so we will activate components of those for those that can deliver the classes online. And so we'll continue to do that throughout the remaining of the academic year, and in the event that we need to extend for whatever reason to deliver the remaining hours necessary that has already been paid for, then we will deliver accordingly.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okada. And if you have any other additional information that we might be able to help get out to the community or to your students, I follow you on Instagram and on Facebook, so try to keep up with what's going on at GCC. So, we're happy to help assist and to try to figure out, especially in this time of we're trying to see how we can help all of the different services that the government touches. So, Mr. Chair, I'll reserve the rest of my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Paris?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, Dr. Okada and the staff that are here today. I just, had a chance to meet with you yesterday, and looking at your budget request, 19 million, I think that's a very good investment, considering that your entity is a progressive entity, and I've seen all the work that you've done, and the ability that you are also, you're not complacent. You're actually looking to be more proactive and engaging the community and working with partnerships. And I do want to share the sentiments with the chair regarding, whatever best practices that you can share with the rest of the government. I think that would be very, great to see. And looking at this, I see that you have a strategic master plan. And I think what's really good, if we can learn from your initiatives, from these initiatives, I think that can go a long way to expanding the success that GCC has shown throughout the years. And I just want to thank you for your leadership at GCC.
Thank you very much.
Senator Torres. Ma'am.
President Okada, I have to say, year in and year out, your appearance before the budget hearings is always remarkable, because you always come asking for little less sometimes, or little more. And yet, with that very humble presentation comes a plethora of accomplishments notwithstanding. I wanted to offer praise and congratulations to yourself and the Board of Trustees for the marked improvements and accomplishments this year alone with your limited budget. I want to note especially the launch of your bachelor's degree program, which I think is incredible, and all your efforts to enhance workforce development, including diversifying the people that you incorporate into your programs for certificates, and the fact that you work so closely with the high school students to enable them to earn certificates of mastery that apply then for college credit. Your sustainability program also at the community college, I think, is so relevant in today's economy, where we have to develop a culture. And what better way to develop a culture than in a learning institution such as GCC? So all those things are notable and remarkable. But what I also wanted to bring up is, I think what we underestimate and don't talk enough about is how the GCC is so responsible in ensuring that in an economy such as Guam's, and with socioeconomic challenges where so many of our people are below the poverty line, so many of our students who view education as a critical need also know that it is in fact a luxury, and that to provide this critical need, it will require the out-of-the-box and innovative and progressive thinking of the Board of Trustees and the President of GCC, for example. But what I wanted to ask is, you've talked about different ways that you access people within the community to get master's degree, certificates of mastery and other training so that they can be gainfully employed. But do we also have an effort to address, and I know you've got an online effort now, but do you also have a specific focus on that demographic in our community who are the young parents, the teens perhaps who have children who are not in a position to go back to high school or seek any sort of higher education because they are limited by or trapped in a situation where they don't have daycare or the means to provide for daycare or a support structure? Has that factor of reaching that other demographic of critical needs people being addressed by the community college?
So the individuals that don't have their high school diploma or high school equivalency, we have engaged with the mayors of the villages, and we've tried our best to provide adult education courses in the mayor's offices or in their villages.
Oh, that's
so there's
fantastic.
several arrangements with the mayor's offices to provide that education. Because one of the barriers they have really is not just the child care, but also the transportation to get to the campus. Mm-hmm. So even, just as an example, even though GCC is in Mangilao, there is a comfort level for individuals to go to the Mangilao church to take their adult education program. So we saw that need, and we provide the services there. And there are other villages down south. I met with Mayor Chargaloff several months ago, and he said, can we bring an adult education program down south? And so our team is working to develop those satellite locations to provide adult education so that it's a little bit easier. We don't provide the daycare. There is one village, though, that we embarked on a partnership in Sinohanya, and they actually provided the daycare services while their parents were attending adult education next door. And so it just becomes, it's an innovative approach with everybody trying to pitch in to help these individuals get their high school diploma or high school equivalency. And we'll continue to do that, recognizing there still is a large number of students or residents on Guam that do not have their high school diploma.
Sidus Maasi for that. That is, I think, when we think about how to best serve, I appreciate that you're very practical in addressing what are the true needs. We always talk about education and all that, but for most people on Guam, because we are mainly of a lower economic bracket or have challenges with needing to generate money for the family household, education really has been a luxury, and I congratulate you and I commend you for truly implementing measures that will go towards breaking that cycle of poverty by allowing education. So congratulations. I'm so excited to hear that.
Senator, I'd also like to
Fantastic.
add that there is a current project that our dean is working with the Guam Department of Labor. They do have out-of-school youth funding, and these are for individuals, again, that don't have their high school diploma. And so one of the goals of that out-of-school youth partnership is going to bridge the completion of the high school diploma while also providing them with some career and technical education, so that it's not just the high school diploma that they complete, that they actually get their feet wet, if you would,
Yes,
in an occupational area that they can pursue further after they get their high school diploma. So we're working on that right now, and it should be rolling out soon.
And this mentorship program where you have people that will employ those reaching certificates, does this also apply to the nursing program that you have right now?
So the nursing program right now is our students are engaged in clinical settings throughout the island with our LPN program currently.
Thank you, and congratulations again, and Suzus Masi to the Board of Trustees.
Thank
You are certainly appreciated.
Thank you, Senator Torres. Senator Moylan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you to the panel. Dr. Okada, thank you for your presentation. I was particularly interested in your discussion about the secondary environment there and all the work you're doing with 2,800 students at 6 public high schools. I wish if I was still in high school, I would have taken advantage of those courses. So that's quite exciting. One thing that comes to mind, especially on the educational track that you discuss, as you're aware, we have public safety recruitment, and there's a great need for different peace officers, peace officer ones especially, through customs, agriculture, Guam Police Department, and Department of Corrections. And I believe we were in discussion also with Department of Administration on the difficulty of meeting the requirements to fulfill those important positions so we can complete our public safety measures for the islands. So I'm wondering, I know we had some discussion, but if you can kindly elaborate on what you foresee, how you can help educate and prepare our students who so wish to become peace officers in the different government departments. And I'm also like to know if your current budget would support development of that track for that purpose.
So we had some discussions about introducing a criminal justice program at the high school level, and we are currently working, our criminal justice department is currently looking at developing that program. As with many of the pilot programs, we do this if we can submit through the consolidated grant the seed money to get it going. Eventually it'll transition into our budget after a couple of years. So we are looking at that one particular area, in addition to working on a articulation agreement with the university similar to what we have in computer science for criminal justice. So what we develop in the high school program has to, because of the dual credit, has to serve as a dual purpose. So not just offering high school credit for criminal justice, but also identifying what courses would they be able to earn dual credit for on the post-secondary level. So there is discussion ongoing. We should have something, if we are able to pilot it, then we would either pilot it in August or in January of August of 2020 or January of 21. But this budget would not necessarily be needed to support that initial phase, because there are other federal funding sources that we can tap.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The end of my colleagues, Senator Paris, follow-up question, and then Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. President Okada, I just was wondering, the facilities, the lab facilities that you have, are they, what level of qualification and certification is it? Is it certified to produce for production purposes?
Produce which labs?
The labs that are on campus. I'm just wondering what the state of your labs are, and what are the capacity, what kind of capacity does it have? Is it like a level 2, level 3, or is it fit for manufacturing? Can it be fit for manufacturing purposes?
So I don't think we've ever had an assessment on the level of, so we have different kinds of labs on campus. We have some upgraded science labs that were part of the Allied Health building. We do have a lab that will be included in the DNA building that would be used by the facility. The other labs that we have are construction trades, welding, automotive, and so those serve as labs. I will share that the GCC Foundation, because of the progressive construction on the campus, the GCC Foundation had purchased the warehouse facility in Barrigada that is currently being utilized by the Guam Trades Academy, because if we are to renovate any of building 5, 6, or 900, which is where the plumbing, electrical areas, automotive, welding are on our campus, we would need to move them somewhere. So that facility was purchased primarily for phasing activities, although there are classrooms there too. So we're working on doing the upgrades to the labs, particularly for the vocational side. We did do the upgrade to the GCC paint booth when ERA funding was available. That was one of the projects. Our automotive lab is probably one of the better auto shops. I mean, it's really, the gentlemen there really keep it spick and span. It really is top-notch in automotive. We will be doing we have applied for some federal funds to do renovation for the construction trades, plumbing, and electrical area. So that building has not yet been upgraded, but we are working to secure funding to do so. And then, of course, we have the cosmetology lab that has also been updated in the last 2 years.
So the Allied Health Lab.
And so there are, so the Allied Health Lab, there are several labs that have been outfitted with the necessary equipment for the nursing programs. And they have, we receive some grant funding, and so we've been able to purchase like the SimMans, and the different equipment that's needed for Allied Health.
What about testing for like tuberculosis, that type of testing? Can that lab handle that sort of thing?
So the only TB testing we do is in our student health center, and that was part of building the student center building that was constructed during or with ERA funding. And so there is, on the bottom floor of that facility is where we have our student health center. And we have a nurse and a LPN that is currently providing the TB shots to our students and employees.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Senator Lee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Dr. Okada, just to go back to our conversation previously about temporary remote instruction in the case of a potential COVID cases on Guam, I just wanted to follow up and ask you, what are the conditions that would trigger your plan? So would it be a confirmed case here on Guam, or, God forbid, local transmission? What would kind of green light you moving to that next step and maybe moving towards, where possible, because I know you were explaining that you can't, it's impossible to do that kind of training online because you're focused on student learning outcomes, but when possible, when would you move to temporary remote instruction?
So we would move to temporary remote instruction, and I want to say this will be on a case-by-case basis. It really just depends on at what level Guam is. Are we isolating a village? Are we isolating a school facility?
Right.
Are we isolating, or are we on the whole island on quarantine? So that's going to be, it really is going to be dependent upon what levels we identify, and then trying to figure out what best mechanism there would be. So, for example, we can provide instruction if we move to remote instruction. It would be based on the institution and the faculty's ability, first of all, to access internet. So, and again, also taking into consideration some students may not have access to internet.
Right.
And so would we have to leave the library open so that those students can complete their, so it really is going to be on a case-by-case basis and the level of quarantine that the island would identify. So we're going to prepare for it now. As the weeks get closer to the end of the semester, we're a week closer to that we don't have to worry about, but we're right now trying to identify all of the courses that can be done or completed because again, the Completion of the course is dependent upon delivering on the student learning outcomes associated with those courses.
That's right.
So we want to make sure that regardless of the situation that we are currently in, that the students receive the full benefit of the courses that they have already paid for.
Thank you, Dr.
But we would
Okada.
take that on a case-by-case basis as to the level and the areas of quarantine that Guam would go under
And this current semester ends on what date?
at the end of April.
Okay.
Because graduation is on the 15th, so
Okay.
right towards the end of April.
All right. Well, we're crossing our fingers and praying that we get to that date.
Yes,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Lee. Mr. Hara.
I just want to comment on Senator Bisco Lee that we're going to have a board meeting at noon today, and that's be one of the things that I actually was going to, bring in to the president and discuss further. I've been following this coronavirus issue all the way from the governor's level to, off island up to the president. So I have a lot of questions, and we will discuss that during our board meeting this afternoon. So I just want to inject that to all the senators.
All right, thank you, sir. I'd like to also mention that, and you didn't mention it, but I know that you're still focusing on a middle college campus. So I'll ask my colleagues that if you find a means to introduce a bill, find a property or a campus available, that we try to figure out a way how to help GCC start their middle college program, because I honestly believe that our students in Guam will benefit no matter what, because they go to high school for 4 years, they graduate with an associate degree and a diploma. It's a double whammy, and it's a win-win. But I know we're not going to discuss that in this budget hearing. I just wanted to mention that, and I'll ask the oversight chair now to make her remarks or her questions or statements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you, President Okada, and to Mr. Hara and your entire Board of Trustees. We appreciate the presentation today, and as all of my colleagues mentioned, we're very proud of all of the work at the Guam Community College, your initiatives, your leadership in sustainability and cost-saving measures, and just being out in the community and really providing the service that we need. The programs that, of course, we are most proud of these last few months have been the CTE four-year degree program and the boot camps. And I'd just like to give you the opportunity to share about what the capacity will be for the CTE four-year program, how many students will be able to share, and how many students will be able to train in the upcoming boot camps for this fiscal year.
Sure. So starting off with the four-year degree program, we're hoping to launch the first cohort in the fall of 20 students, and we will grow the required faculty based on the interest. There seems to be a lot of interest that we are getting for that program. So we'll start the cohort with 20 students. In terms of boot camps, we have several boot camps that will be going on this summer. There is going to be a construction boot camp of about 20 students. Then we are working on offering yet another truck driving boot camp. We're working through the dynamics of the funding now, and so that would allow us to potentially support another 20 students. I don't want to call it a boot camp, but we are just about ready to launch the paramedic program, which would allow 30 individuals to take part of the paramedic program. That is it's a year-long process, but we're going to get that going in the next couple of months. Hopefully there's no delay, because the instructors for this program really will be coming from off-island to launch the program for us. And so that's coming up. We do have several summer programs as well. So several years ago, the college received approximately $1.5 million from the Reach for College initiative through Department of Education, U.S. And so when the funding was over, the need didn't go away, so we localized it, and that is contained in the current budget for the last several years. So we still have Reach for College, which provides services to students who are first generation. So that is going on this summer. We still have Project AIM, which is part of the TRIO program, and so there'll be some programs that they also provide. And through the consolidated grant, there are several career and technical education courses that will be offered to high school students this summer. And so we're going to be a busy campus this summer. Hopefully, we'll be able to deliver all of those. In addition, the out-of-school youth that I spoke about earlier, that is hoping to launch again this summer, and that's going to focus on cybersecurity. And then once we get the final signatures on the Department of Interior funding, there will be the free one-year college for lodging management and cooking, I believe. And so those, once that contract is completed, we just pending the AG signature, that will also roll out for a 1 year of free college for about 70 individuals.
Thank you very much, President Okada, and I think it's just so important to highlight all of these opportunities that we're giving to students, especially these relatively short-term training opportunities that will allow them to enter into the workforce with skills. So I appreciate all the work that you're doing in that area. And again, we commend you for the work that you're doing and the budget requests that you've been able to come to us with, as Senator Torres said, a very little addition, and we're happy to support you.
Thank you very much.
There being no one else to testify on behalf of GCC or against, I know there's nobody against, but you need to share what you're doing, okay, with everybody else. I'm going to keep asking that. If not, I'm going to ask everybody, have they talked to you about what they're doing?
Sure.
There being none, the committee will conclude this budget hearing. The committee will continue to receive testimony for the next few days. Please address your written testimony to the Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing, and submit it via email to Senator Joe S. Augustine at gmail.com. Si Zeus Masi for your attendance and participating in today's hearing. And for those at home, thank you for watching this budget hearing on Bill 282-35 LS relative to the Guam Community College is now adjourned. It is now 9:59. Thank you.